Hey, good morning, everybody. Pastor Mark here coming to you from my living room. I wanted to do so this morning because of what you see behind me. Of course, we still have our Christmas decorations up. In the Jordan household, we don't take down our Christmas decorations until the Epiphany, which is today, which ends the Christmas season. As I mentioned back in December, Christmas is a season of 12 days. And I remember being a kid and trying to figure out, when did those 12 days of Christmas happen? Well, it actually begins on Christmas Day and it ends on the Epiphany. And so when you think about partridges and pear trees and five golden rings and fa la 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 la, all the other stuff, it's that 12-day of Christmas season that begins with Christmas Day and ends with Epiphany. And so we'll be getting ready to take down our Christmas decorations in short order. But I wanted to say a little bit this morning about the Epiphany because it really is so important. It's one of those days that doesn't get a whole lot of promotion in the church because we have such big events with Christmas Eve. But the Epiphany is a really, really important day too because it signifies the fulfillment of God's promise that Jesus would come to be with us forever, but also Jesus was going to come to bring all people all over the earth together into God's family. We talked about that on Sunday in our first installment of the Words to Live By series with the word Logos, about how Jesus comes to be the fulfillment of God's promise and to be that visible image of the invisible God. In Matthew chapter 2, at the very beginning, we see about how the Magi, or the wise men, saw that star rising in the east. And you got to see that star on December 21st. But they saw that star rising in the east, and they decided that they were going to go worship this newborn king because that's what the star would signify. And so they followed the star. And a little bit later down into Matthew chapter 2, right around verse 9 to 12 or so, we see that the wise men, or the Magi, found the place where the baby Jesus lay. I love how the Message version renders this verse because it says that when the wise men got to the place where baby Jesus was, they were overjoyed because they were at the right place at the right time. They've been following that star. And of course, one of the things that we talked and commented about back in December when we were looking at the Christmas star was how that convergence took place over the matter of a couple of days. And we had to wait for that moment when the convergence arrived. And the wise men, they were following that for quite a while. But when they got to the place where the baby Jesus was, where the newborn king was, they were overjoyed because they knew they were at the right place and they were there at the right time. And then when they did that, they opened up their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. That really is the reason that we oftentimes associate the wise men with the number 3, because of the gifts that they brought. Chances are they probably had a lot more people in their entourage. They probably had quite a large traveling party, but we do know that there were 3 gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And those 3 gifts had a lot of symbolism that speaks to who Jesus is for us always, from the beginning to his ministry to where we are today in our world. The gift of gold is a gift fit for a king, right? Who wouldn't love to get a little bit of gold? And so when we see the Magi present the gift of gold to Jesus, it indicates that Jesus was born to be the King of Kings. And then when the gift of frankincense was given, that is an incense or a spice that is used for incense and worship, that indicates that Jesus was born to be our great high priest, to stand in the gap, to communicate to God on our behalf. And of course, Jesus did that. But also, part of that was for Jesus to be the appropriation for our sins, to be the one who paid that sin debt that you and I have that we can't pay on our own, which leads to the gift of myrrh. Myrrh is a spice sometimes used in perfumes, but more readily used when bodies are prepared for burial. So in these 3 gifts, we see that the gold is a gift fit for a king, and the frankincense was an incense that was used in worship for the great high priest, but the myrrh was used for burial. And so the King of Kings and the great high priest came to die for you and me so that we can know what it means to live for him. And so, friends, I hope that as we begin this Epiphany Day, that you will have an epiphany yourself about that incredibly intricate plan that God set in motion from the very beginning, that culminated with convergence of planets or stars arriving and Magi's arriving from the east, that Jesus came for the last, the least, and the lost in the society, but he also came for those people who were not part of the Jewish culture and tradition. And so if Jesus came for all them, if God did all that, I want you to know in your heart of hearts that God can and will and did do that for you. And so on this Epiphany, may it be a great awareness that you are in the right place at the right time to line up your life with God, to experience that great convergence with Christ, with who he is and what he's done for you. And I hope and I pray that as we get ready to continue our second installment of our Words to Live By message series. This week we're talking about passion, that you will experience a passion like never before for who God is and for what he's done for your life and what he wants to do through your life in the world. So I hope that you have a wonderful, blessed Epiphany. I look forward to joining with you in worship on Sunday. We're virtual again this week, but I want you to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that you could experience a passion for Christ because he is the King of Kings. He is the great high priest that speaks to God on your behalf because he came to die for you and to pay your sin debt. So have a great day, have a blessed Epiphany, and I look forward to being in touch soon. God bless.